Hello, friends. Stacy here with my Tuesday creative session. So, what we are looking at here is a super fun, I don't know, let's call it the mosaic tile technique using acetate. So, this was my sample card. But first, let me show you this. Back in my CTMH days, um, I had done this technique, and these were the colors and the paper I used. Hard to see in the video right now, but as we get further along, you'll be able to tell between all these little tiles is acetate. So it has a really, see it there a little bit? It has a beautiful shimmer, but I added in some glitter. So that's what changed it. So this is what inspired me. And this was my example card that I made today just to make sure I remembered how to do this technique. And I used the new mixed up patterns, the DSP. I thought this came out great. So this is with 1/2 inch tiles or squares. That's very important. So today, the card we're going to recreate is this card right here, because I myself need a few Mother's Day cards. I thought this was beautiful. So I wanted to play off feminine colors with black. So I brought in some pinks and some Secret Sea, but also I'm using two different patterns of DSP. One of them is, so this pink one is from Celebratory Sips. And hold on, I'm looking. And this Secret Sea one here is from Florals in Bloom. So this is a great way and a perfect example of how you can use up some scraps. So we're going to recreate this card today. So I'm going to take these other two out of the way. Oh, and this looks smaller, right? So these are 3/8 inch tiles. 3/8 inch squares, whatever you want to say, squares, tiles. But this is 1/2 inch. So that's very important. And you can make this however small or large you want your squares to be. So I love the 3/8 inch size, and that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to keep this one in view. This is also 1/2 inch. We're going to move these out of the way. Okay, so what you're going to need is a piece of acetate, 3 by 12 inches, okay? 3 by 12 inches. Then you're going to need, so let me bring this card back in. I did say I used the mixed up patterns here. Let me show you that DSP collection. That's right here. This is the mixed up patterns. Here is the 5 different patterns you get that are double-sided. So it's a pack of 12. Really hard to see these pink designs in here. They are super light, but that's what I used for this card. And I also used the fabulous sayings. I used to a fabulous friend right here. Did I stamp inside? Yes. And then I used the happy birthday to stamp inside. So, okay, so what I want to show, so I'm gonna demonstrate the technique, but then I have everything prepped and ready to go with this. But I want to demonstrate the technique, so I'm demonstrating using this DSP. So from that collection, you're going, or any collection, any shades, if you want to do this monochromatic 5, 6 different shades of the same color, you go ahead. But you're going to need these are 1/2 by 12-inch strips. So I brought in some metallic silver, the brushed silver on this, and then I used 5 different patterns. I chose these 5 patterns from that DSP collection, and these are all 1/2 inch strips by 12. But for today's card, like I said, I brought in Pretty in Pink glitter paper. I brought in some dark glitter paper. That was from the Peaceful, I don't know, over the winters, there was a collection. This was from Celebratory Sips. This one, like I said, was from Florals in Bloom. And then I used a Pretty in Pink light cardstock. So this is just mixed patterns. This all comes from the same collection. So you can certainly do whatever you prefer. So Okay, let me just start. I just needed to get a lot of that talking out of the way, and then this is going to go very simple. So, just for the demonstration, I'm using 1/2 inch strips. For today's card, I'm going to use 3/8 inch strips. Make sense? Whichever card you size tiles you want, those are the strips you need. 6 different patterns. And then you're going to need a piece of acetate 3 inches by 12 inches. All right, so what you're going to do is with your strips, you're going to, let me come in with my trimmer. Yep, I had that right. And all you're going to do is take those strips and cut them at 3. So you're going to have 4 of each. Okay, so 3. So cut all of your strips and make piles at 3. Okay, so you have here. So just start making your piles. And then, like I said, I don't really edit videos. I just like to come on and give you simple tips, techniques. I kind of figure it all out and make all the mistakes for you, but I don't edit, you guys. So if you don't want to watch me do this, go ahead, simply fast forward. I add chapters usually on the YouTube videos, so you can check down there. And I might have fast forwarded through for you. All right, so I'm just cutting these up and making piles. You see what I'm doing? I am just going to stop now. I'm just going to cut this one and stop because this is just for technique, and then we'll get to creating the card and how you make it, which is another technique in itself. All right, so you got the idea. I don't have to sit here and cut every single one up, but let me zoom back out. So I still have these 2 left. I'm not going to cut them up. I'll finish this off camera. But okay, so what you would do, you would have your piles of your strips of cardstock. Again, these are now strips of 1/2 by 3 inches. I'm going to take my silicone mat. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to use cheap adhesive of mine. So you're going to put your pattern. So let's just say I had all 6 patterns, but I only have 4 right now. Again, demonstration purposes. You're going to line this one up all the way at the top. Now, some of them may be a smidge bigger, a smidge smaller. So what I do is I perfectly line up the left end, and then when we got this all loaded up, I'm going to trim like 1/8 of an inch off. All right, so keeping going. Grab your next one. Now, you're going to want to leave a smidge between. Let me show you. Actually, this one can move down just a little more. Okay, see a smidge between. See it right there? Okay, and just keep going in your pattern. So your next one, okay, line it up against, leave like, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch between. See it? All right, and you're going to just keep going down, using up all of your strips of cardstock. So you can see how this is a great way to use up scraps. Now start your pattern over. And again, if you want to have blocks of like 2 of one color, 2 of another, and 2 of another, go ahead. Just however you decide to create your pattern of colors, DSP collections, throw glitter, throw a strip of glitter in there. I like to do that. All right, so you get the idea, right? Do I need to keep going, or can we move on to the next part of this? Because I'm going to show you, like I said, I already have most of this made already, but let me stand up here. So you get the idea. You're just going to keep going down in a pattern, but you see I have like a tiny little strip, and you may not end off at the bottom perfectly, but that's okay. So let me now get this out of the way, and I'm going to tell you again, this was 1/2 inch strips because on this card I have 1/2 inch tiles. Now, on the card we're going to make today. This was to demonstrate the technique. Now I'm going to bring back in today's card. And here is my panel. I just love this. So if you flip it over, here's the back side, and you can really see between that cardstock. Okay. So my strips on this panel are 3/8 of an inch. Okay. These or 1/2 inch. See how they're bigger? If I wanted to even go smaller and make 1/4 of an inch, you would just keep going down, but you may need some more longer strips, because you might only end here on your acetate. So for the purposes of 3/8 or 1/2 inch, this works well. 3 by 12. I had a little bit of it acetate left, and I just trimmed it off because this got smaller, which is totally fine. Okay, so now also what I did is I lined everything up to one end, and then if you have a lot of overhang, you can simply come in with the scissor, or you can just use your paper trimmer and take a little smidge off. Not going to matter. Now, you're gonna come back in with your paper trimmer now. When you have your whole acetate panel loaded up, you're gonna come in with your trimmer. Now, this is where the same sized cardstock strips are the strips you're going to make down. So let me show you. This was a completed panel, and I cut this up at 1/2 inch. I made 1/2 inch cuts to be able to make this card, and I had 2 left over. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. But because these strips are 3/8 of an inch, I'm going to cut 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to start on this end because this is my uneven end. 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to put that in my paper trimmer. And I am going to trim. Gotta really be careful and make sure I'm on 3/8. I'm clear 3/8. Okay. This is what you get, a strip. So you want to make a few strips like that. So let me cut a few more. I didn't do this beforehand because I wanted to do it on camera with you. I think you get about 6 maybe. So now if I had 1/2 inch cardstock, I would be making 1/2 inch strips. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. But because I'm using 3/8 of an inch, I'm making 3/8 of an inch strips. I definitely think I would have enough to do 2 cards out of this. All right, another area of my video demonstration here that you can certainly just fast forward. Now, this is why it doesn't matter if you didn't totally, hold on, get everything lined up perfect on this edge, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 strips so far. That's perfect enough for a card. And maybe even 2 cards. So I can definitely get one more 3/8 inch strip out of this. Let me just do that. And then I'm going to toss. Show you. I got a perfect 3/8 inch here. This one I can toss, or I can actually get another 3/8 inch out of that. So I'm going to save. Okay. So let me just zoom back out now. So here's all my strips. I just love this. I love the way it looks. Okay. So now let's create our card. I am just using a regular A2 size card base. So let's get that going. And for today's sentiment, I do need a few Mother's Day cards. I am using Family Ties. This is item 166897. And for my main sentiment here, Happy Mother's Day, I used Happy and the smaller Mother's Day. And then on the inside, have a lovely day. I used Have a Lovely and then the day for that. So I'm just going to duplicate this card exactly. I also want to give you, so our window sheets, that's item number 142314. And then just a few more of minimal supplies I used for my focal point here. I did use the deckled rectangle dies. For my gems, I used the Drushy, D-R-U-S-Y, Drushy adhesive backed embellishments. And not sure if these items are still available when you're catching my video. And for the ribbon for my gorgeous bow, I used the silver and white, which is 162149. So I just wanted to show you. So as I'm creating, I didn't have to go through all of that with you. All right. And I already went ahead and made my focal point. And for this one, I'm going to put my bow at the corner. There is those gems. And you'll see I did a little ink blending on the background using a little of the pretty in pink. And then I stamped Happy Mother's Day and Secrecy. So again, this technique and video today is more about creating this background, but not so much stamping. Here's my inside for my card base. So I'm going to get that adhered down. Let me use my better adhesive. This is just my inside. So these two layers, the Secrecy is, hold on, is 4 by 5 1/4, and then the basic white is 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, and I have some basic, there's a PDF located in the description just with these basic measurements so you do not forget. Okay, so there's my card base. Now to create, this is going to be the money piece of this card. So I just have 3 pieces here. So my basic white is 3 3/4 by 5. My Secrecy is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and my Summer Splash is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so that's it. These are just my front mats. No biggie, no biggie. And then this is what we're going to use. I'm going to sit down. So I make it easier on myself, and I just use like a cheap adhesive when I'm doing this, but you can certainly use mini or micro glue dots so that you do not see any adhesive in between. Listen, friends, I ain't gonna lie. So you might see in the middle of my acetate a little bit of glue. I mean, I could care less. And I'm looking at this pretty close up, and you really have to have it close up to see it. So, to make life easier, just with the strip of adhesive. But if you really want to be particular, grab those mini glue dots. So, how you're going to start this is you're going to take one of your strips. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. So, you're going to take one of your strips, and however it works for you to think. So I'm going to start at this first one. I'm going to cover that with adhesive, and I'm just going to strip down to about, actually, I'm going to move it down just a smidge, and I'm going to go to this one up here. I'm going to put adhesive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to make a mental note that from right here down, I need adhesive. And this is where your mini or micro glue dots, you'll just put in between so you don't get any adhesive on, uh, visible, or you can certainly, tap your adhesive down. Listen, it's really hard to see. I'm okay with doing that. So now you want to come back in with your paper. I'm going to hold this down at the corner here, and I want it to hang over. And I'm going to go right on a perfect angle to that opposite edge. Okay, just like that. Now, if you want to do another one before we snip off, that's fine. And you use a lot of your scraps. So now you don't want it to be exactly the same, right? And look like that. You want your patterns to be off a little bit. That's what makes that mosaic. So I'm going to start maybe at this second one. You're not wasting because you're going to need some of these little bits. So I'm going to keep my finger there, and I'm just going to go down, quite a ways. I didn't quite measure, but you can. I think I got glue up to there. And I just find where my glue goes to. So it kind of starts, and I put my fingers there. And then I just line up, again, leaving a little gap. just like that. Okay. And if you want to move in just a little, I think I'm a little too much of a gap. I'm going to move in just a little more. Okay. All right. Now, if you want to add a third one before you snip off, maybe I'd put it right about there. Okay. So I'm going to hold my finger where I'm going to add some adhesive. Glitter is getting all over. Okay, I have glue right there. So I'm going to hold it right about there. Perfect. Okay, so now when you flip it over, what you want to do is you want to take, here's my scissors that I cut adhesive. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to trim, snip off, and keep all these bits right now. You're going to see what you might need these for at the end. Okay, perfectly snip. Okay, and you have your perfect corner right there. And now do the same thing up top. And that's okay. You have some adhesive. That's why you're cutting with your adhesive snips. Okay. Let me show you why you keep a lot of these. So see that already has a nice, you'll use this on the card. Look at that. It perfectly lines up, but not here yet. We got to wait till we get to a little smaller. So you want to save all of these scraps. Okay. Even the smallest ones, because you never know what we're going to need in the corner. All right, so I'm just going to move my scraps to one side, and we still got to use some of these long ones. That's why you need about 6 of them to at least have to use for one card. All right. Let's see, where's my glue? Right about there. Let me just line that up. Just like that. See one of these yet? Not yet. This one's a little longer. Yes, perfect. So look at that. See? And it already has an angle there for me. So I just line that one up. It's already on a nice angle. Let's try this one. Yeah, we could totally use that one too. Sweet. All right. Can we use this one? Nope, that's for going to be up this side. That's for that side also. And this one is going to be a little smaller. So actually, we can flip it. Nope, it's still not big enough. Okay, so we're going to have to use a big one right here, and that's totally okay. You're just going to use a piece of it. So probably like, I don't know, 6 squares. Just like that. All right, and then we want to snip off. Basically, just keep repeating this pattern. It's a very fun design. Think of, masculine, feminine. You could do Happy Father's Day and just do all like shades of blue and blacks or grays. Okay, so you have that little piece right there. Let's see what we can fit. I think, look at that. I think that is perfect. That's why these little bits you do not throw away. Even, if you're going to make two of the same cards, keep your bits from some of your cards. Just like that, just a little smidge hanging off. It's like a puzzle, right? I mean, if you want to get crazy, you got all these little pieces, you can fill something in there, but I'm good. Okay, let's continue on over here. Think we can use this one? Yes, we certainly can. That fits. So let's get adhesive going on this strip. I hope you give this a try. So, like I said, this was going around years ago. Actually, when I look into my archives, it was 2023 when I did this. So, and it was a fellow CTMH demonstrator who had started the craze, and we all started doing it. So, I hope you give it a try and think about it. When you have that panel of all your strips going across, you can die cut out of that. There's so many different things you can do. All right, let's try this strip because this is definitely going to fit right there. So we'll use that up so we don't have waste on that. And just some basic supplies here, just some basic cardstock, nothing crazy. And like I said, you can use a whole collection of DSP or you don't have to. You can mix match. I actually have two different types of DSP in this card base right here. Okay. Nope, this will be used up closer. So we are going to use this long one. And when they have the points made for them already, it's perfect. They just perfectly line up. Just works out wonderful. Okay. Just like that. And let's snip off the back. And I could have just showed you a few and had this already made up for the sake of the video, but I thought it was worthwhile to go through to show you how these little corners start to be line up, and you can use all your pieces. And I'm not concerned about seeing the adhesive through the acetate. I don't really think you can, to be quite honest, too much. All right, let's see, we're coming to the end here. We may need a little piece for this side because it might be too much of the white shown. Let's see. We'll see. We might need a little piece right there. What do you think? Let's see if we have a piece. Ooh, what's this little guy right here? Get that little piece. Oh, yeah. Oh, it doesn't. Does it match? Not really. Let's see if I go this way. It does. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to need my third hand. Does match up. No, I can't use that. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I can just use this piece right here. Just a little corner. Just like that. Just put it there. I don't know if that will stick, but we'll see. If not, that corner is going to have nothing. Let's see, did it work? It did. There it goes. Okay, so now this is what's left over. Okay, so I have two full strips. I have one small one. I would save these because I would just go through this again and make another one. But I will show you from my first card, I had two left over. So now I put that together. I definitely have enough to make another card. So let's keep going. I'm going to stand up now. I'm going to get all these little bits out of the way, and there's glue on them already. So they're sticking. And then we'll just put the rest of the card together to show you how stinking cute that is. So look at that. So even the glitter adds just such beautiful sparkle. Love that. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with that secret C. These two are just going to layer nicely together. Oh, I want to use my strong adhesive now. These two are just going to layer nicely. So let's do this way. So that pink is up at the top. Sorry, I have to move this closer. It's hard for me to see because this little 1/8 of an inch, and I try to get it as even as I could. All right, what I'm going to do for a second is I want to flip this over and I'm just going to burnish this. I just want to make sure everything is nice and pushed down. So the Secret C was 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and now this Summer Splash is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and they are going to adhere to one another. And this has a thicker border. All right, and my card base, remember we already went and put our inside in there. So now this, I just made the opposite of this card with my layers. I'm going to come back again and put a nice thick all the way around. I love my adhesive. Love it. I use so much of it. Oh, I'm not even in frame there. We'll get that on our card base. Cutesy, cutesy, cutesy. Okay, so for our sentiment in the middle here, again, I had just blended some ink. I did my stamping. I put this on some dimensional tape. This, whoops, is just going to go right in the middle for a very simple, beautiful Mother's Day card. So I hope you enjoyed this technique. I'm calling this the Mosaic Tile technique, and you're using your acetate. You can see that acetate in the middle there. Super fun. Let me bring my other examples in that I had showed. This is using that mixed up patterns. Just a very simple happy birthday card. And then this was my example that I made a few years ago using that fun image, I smell birthday. So there are some cards to keep you inspired. I hope you enjoyed. And if you like my video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. I do everything clean, very simple, not too much technique to it, right? Because we want to create cards. So I hope you give this a try. I hope you give my video a like or subscribe, thumbs up, leave me a comment. I love to interact with you. Bye now. Hope you have a crafty day. Take care.